If you've been laid off because of the coronavirus, in this video, I'm going to walk you through the steps you need to take immediately if you want to take full control of your financial situation. I'm also going to be answering the most Googled questions at the moment regarding unemployment, and I'll even show you how in some cases you might be paid more by being unemployed than by keeping your current job. But before I get into it, I do want to talk about this new reality that we're all facing together. At the time I'm filming this video, that today is April 19, 2020, last week alone, 5.2 million Americans filed for unemployment, bringing that total number of unemployment claims up to 22 million in just the past 4 weeks. So this is a problem that is just starting and it's affecting each and every one of us. Some experts are saying that's going to last anywhere from 3 to 6 months. Others are saying that it might extend until the end of the year. And if you read this article by Forbes, you'll find out that Harvard researchers have said that social distancing could last until 2022. Because of that, I'm putting together this series of videos to help you make sure that you're equipped as best as possible to face the hardships, at least financially speaking, that this pandemic will bring in the months and maybe even years to come. Throughout the series and in the next videos to come, I'll be covering topics that range from tricks to get the cheapest groceries, to how to navigate the health insurance market, to things you can start doing right now so you and your family can emerge even stronger than ever out of these hard times. It is my promise to you that I'll be tripling down on my efforts to get a new video out every 3 to 4 days to make sure that I'm providing the maximum value to you. So if you want to be notified every time I release a new video, a new part of the series, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. So without further ado, let's get into the video. If you've been laid off, the first thing you need to do is obviously file for unemployment. And I understand that for some of you, this might be the first time dealing with the unemployment benefit system, and it might be a little bit overwhelming. Even for those of you who have filed for unemployment in the past, you still might have a lot of questions because of this new legislation that Congress passed in the last few weeks called the CARES Act. So let me simplify it for you. Let's start off with who qualifies for unemployment benefits, which is basically anyone who is unemployed without it being their fault. Meaning that if you quit your job or you were fired because of misconduct, then you wouldn't qualify for unemployment benefits. But if you were laid off or furloughed, then you're good to go and you can apply for unemployment. Although most states imposed a minimum earnings requirement, meaning that you had to have earned a minimum amount of wages over a specific period of time if you want to receive unemployment benefits. And because of these two vary from state to state, if you want to learn if you meet your work and earnings requirement in your state to qualify for unemployment, all you have to do, and let me jump into my computer to show you, is just go on Google and type the name of your state, followed by the words unemployment benefits. And you'll be able to find the criteria you need to meet. As you can see, for Florida, you must have earned at least $3,400 before taxes in the first 4 complete quarters, beginning 18 months prior to your claim. Now the question you might be having is, what exactly will you get? As I said before, unemployment benefits, they vary from state to state, but generally speaking, you can expect to get about half of your current paycheck up to a maximum weekly dollar amount that your state has set. For example, if you live in Colorado, you can expect to get up to $618 a week, versus if you live in Arizona, you would only get up to $240 a week. Now, how long will you get your money for? Again, it depends on your state, but in most of them, you can expect to get it for at least 26 weeks. Unless you live in Florida, like I do, where you only get unemployment benefits for 12 weeks. If you want to see what's the maximum that you would get in your state, I'm going to leave a link in the description below to this site where you'll be able to go and find your numbers based on where you live. Okay, so after you've taken a look at that, let's get back to the chart because here's where things get interesting. Under the new $2 trillion CARES Act, you're going to receive further benefits than these. On top of what you would normally receive from your state, you're going to get an additional $600 until July 31st. Excuse my writing. And no matter how many weeks of unemployment you get from your state, you're going to receive an additional 13 weeks on top of that, which could bring your total up to 39 weeks. Now, do you remember how in the beginning of the video, I told you that you might find yourself making more being unemployed than actually working at your previous job? That all has to do with this number right here. Let's go back to my computer and I'll show you how that works. If you're going to make more money by being unemployed than actually working, it's going to depend on 3 things. The first one being how much money you were making before being laid off. The second one, in which state you live. And the third, how many dependents you have. So let me show you a couple of examples here. If you live in Florida and you were making $50,000 a year, you would only be paid 91% of your current salary. But if you live in Massachusetts and you were making the same amount, then you will get your salary and an additional 12%. Now that is all thanks to this $600 extra a week that you will get until July 31st. But once we get to this date, you're gonna go back to your regular state level, which in the example I just showed you about Massachusetts, that would mean going from $1,081 a week down to $480. And if you think that is bad, in some states, such as my state of Florida, the unemployment benefits are capped at $275 a week, which is an amount that many struggle to exist on already. So don't take those $600 a week lightly. They're there to help you, and if you can't receive them, I suggest doing so. I know it might be exciting to find out that in your case, you might be paid more by being unemployed and sitting in your couch than working your regular job. But bear in mind that there's still people out there working every day and putting themselves at risk to keep society running. I'm talking about grocery stores, the men and women that pick up your trash, the mail guy, the delivery guy. These are people who are out there and they're still earning minimum wage. So if you're fortunate enough to receive this money, please use it wisely. Don't be a spendthrift. Use it to keep your family safe and try to help out as much as you can. And with that being said, it's time for our speed round. As an online marketer, I spend so much time trying to keep up with the questions that people are asking online. So I wanted to share the most frequently asked questions right now on the internet about unemployment. So let me set up my timer. I'm gonna move to the side and we'll get this started. Okay, so I'm setting up my timer right here. We're ready to go. 3, 2, 1, let's go. First question, how do you apply for unemployment? Well, it's actually pretty simple. All you have to do is go to careeronestop.org, pick your state from the drop-down list, hit search, and then follow the instructions on the page. Question number 2, when will I get my first unemployment check? Right now, it's usually taking between 2 to 3 weeks from the time you file until the time that you receive your first check. Number 3, how often will I get the checks? You're gonna get bi-weekly checks. Number 4, can I file for unemployment if I'm a freelance or a gig worker? The answer is yes, absolutely you can. Under the CARES Act, unemployment benefits are extended to gig workers, freelancers, and self-employed. Number 5, are unemployment benefits taxable? Well, unemployment benefits are considered taxable income and you must report it. Number 6, if I'm working from home, can I get any benefits? Well, this is kind of obvious, but if you're working, you can't get any benefits. And the last question, when do unemployment benefits run out? So taking a look back to our chart, normally you would get 26 weeks, but with the CARES Act, you get an additional 13. So potentially that could mean 39 weeks from the day you file. And that ends the speed round for the day. I hope that I answered any questions you might have about unemployment. If you found that last section useful and you know somebody who has recently been laid off, feel free to share the video with them because they might have some questions and you can help them out. Okay, so after you file for unemployment, then now what? Well, there's actually 2 more steps you need to take if you want to take full control of your financial situation. The next step is you must assess the damage and you have to be realistic about it. You have to sit down and ask yourself some questions. You have to ask yourself, when is my next bill due? What is it for? Do I have enough money to pay for it? Another question might be, do I have enough food in the fridge? So these are not easy questions, but they're essential to taking control of the situation and getting your life back on track because no one knows how long we're gonna be like this. After you realistically and honestly assess your situation, you need to go about prioritizing with a mind for the long term. For most people, priority number 1 is housing because you need a place to live. Then of course comes food because you need to put food on the table for your family. And then you have something that most people don't take into account, and that's health insurance. And I think you and I can agree that in times like these, you cannot afford not to have health insurance. The good news is that under the COBRA Act, you can carry on with your employer-based coverage, but unfortunately, you'll have to pay the full amount for the premium. So you'll pay more than what you saw coming out of your paycheck when you were employed because your employer was subsidizing some of that premium for you. But you don't need to worry because in the 4th video of this series, I'll dive deeper into the topic. But in the meantime, if you're wondering about what your options are, I do recommend checking this really fantastic article by Dave Ramsey. I'm going to leave a link to it in the description down below. Now, the exact way you prioritize will depend on your and your family's situation, but given the necessity of staying inside, I think it goes without being said that this is no time for travel or shopping sprees at the mall or even shopping online. I think all of that can be very dangerous for your bank account. For now, focus on the essentials and stick around for the next video because we'll be getting creative on finding you ways to cut your expenses down to the bare minimum. And I'll even tell you why Amazon might not be the best place right now if you're trying to get stuff for cheap. Remember, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.